money, a biblical mindset about money. What God told Paul to write. Consider last week's Bible study from 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 1 and 2. Now, about the collection for the Lord's people. Do what I told the Galatian churches to do. On the first day of every week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income, saving it up so that when I come, no collections will have to be made. We need to establish a biblical mindset about money, the way Paul was trying to instruct the people in Corinth as he had in Galatia. Paul did not want the people to struggle to do what God had already told them to do. Take care of the people that are bringing you my word, that are doing service in the church in order that his kingdom could be built. Here are some steps to consider. Track your spending. Write down everything you spend for 1 month so you will see where your money is going. If you see it, you will be more aware of what you're doing. Just to talk about it is one thing, but if you actually write it down and take a look at it, you'll realize that you're doing a lot more than what you thought you were doing. I tell people that when filing their taxes at the end of the year, you may not think that you had spent 10% of your income on medical expenses because you do it in such little pieces. But if you have insurance that you're paying for, and then you have prescriptions that you're buying, and then you have co-pays at the doctor's office, you may have had a trip to the emergency room, you have an ambulance charge that you had to pay. By the time you add all those things up, it could easily come to more than 10% of what you had as your gross income, which is a requirement for filing your medical expenses on your income tax return. So if you keep track of it, keep writing it down as you do these things, then you'll see when you accumulate it all together at the end of the year what a great number that is. You can't just think about the fact that when you go to get your prescriptions at the CVS, oh, I only spent $30 for this, or I only spent $80 for this. You have to add it all up and see what it comes to at the end of a year, and it really does make a tremendous difference. So write down everything you spend and just do it for 1 month so you can see where you are, and you will know where, if you take that number and multiply it times 12, you'll see where it's supposed to be for a whole year. So track your spending so that you can see exactly where your money is going. Develop a budget. Don't be an emotional, impulsive buyer. A lot of times we buy things that we don't need with money that we don't have. And sometimes that's done to impress people that we don't even like and that we know don't like us. Know where your income is. That is money that comes from all sources. Whatever place it is that you're getting your money from, know where that's coming from. Whether it's Social Security, if you have a job, it could be coming from that. It could be coming from an annuity. It could be coming from many other different sources. Whatever those sources are, write them all down so that you'll know what your income is. And then write down your expenses. Those expenses would be anything that are your needs and anything as well that are your wants. And your needs could be your bills that you have to pay, like your car note, your house note, your groceries, your gas for your car. And then your wants will fall into categories like wanting to go to the movies sometimes, or wanting to stop at Culver's and get a hamburger or whatever. Your needs and your wants. You need to know what the cost is for each one of those things. Be sure to include giving and tithing and savings in your expenses. And here again, if you write it down, you'll be able to see it and know exactly what those numbers are. Save. Use the 10-10-80 rule. And what's that? Tithe 10%, save 10%, spend 80%. In the spending section, you're going to include your taxes and insurance, your car note, house note, groceries, credit card bills, Macy's and JCPenney, any department store charges that you have. All of that needs to be put down under the spend column so that you'll know what that 80% number is. Create an emergency fund. Without a budget, when emergencies happen, sometimes you can be not able to handle them. And if you're not prepared to handle an emergency, you could find yourself in a really bad situation. Sometimes you have people you can go to for help. And even if you have those people, be it a parent, grandparent, or some friend, if you've created your own resources, you not only save face, you save relationships. Relationships that can be ruined because you're always looking to somebody else to bail you out. If you have a budget, you work emergency funds into the savings element of that budget. I suggest you always have at least $2,000 in an emergency fund, because most major repairs like tires, refrigerators, washer, dryer, water heater, all of those things are going to cost about that much, sometimes more, depending on your taste and depending on your need. We don't want you to only have $1,500 in your emergency fund when you know that your refrigerator is going to cost $2,500 if you have to have it replaced. So keeping at least $2,000 in an emergency fund will give you a big chunk of what you need in case something goes wrong. And by the emergency fund being a part of your savings element, the other things that are in your savings might have to suffer if an emergency comes up. You might not be able to take that trip. You might not be able to do some of those entertainment things that you like to do. But all of those monies are in that savings fund. So make sure that you have enough in there to cover what might be an emergency and still be able to have money to enjoy yourself. Sum it up. Think about this. What is money? Money is just currency used for trade, to exchange. It's green paper. It's power. It's a tool to accomplish a purpose. It should not be your goal. It's a resource, not the source. It does not have life. It doesn't act on its own. It doesn't do good deeds. People do these things. Money is important to God. And we know that because there's over 2,000 verses in the Bible that talk about it. And tithing is not an option for those of us that believe God and the work that He has given us to do to increase His kingdom. Tithing is a requirement, and giving does not start until tithing is complete. Many of us think that because we give to our organizations or we give to some special event that's coming up, that we can cut our tithes and do those things instead. We have to remember that tithing is the requirement. Those other things are requests being made on behalf of, but tithing is the requirement. And whatever else it is that we do is not happening until we've completed our tithing. And we have to do that because our tithes is what makes it possible for the kingdom to go on and be handled. It's what helps the bills be paid. We don't come into the church on Sundays and it's uncomfortable because we can't pay the light bill. We don't come to the church and look at the church grounds and see that it doesn't look good because the grass hasn't been cut because we couldn't pay to get it done. We don't enjoy the fact that the toilets are able to be flushed because we pay the water bill. If we can't do those, we cannot do those things if we don't have tithers. Every officer in the church should be a tither as an example to everyone else. And this is a requirement, and it's a requirement by God. It's not what we're asking you to do. It's what God has commanded us to do. Establish a biblical mindset about money. Seek out God's word and find out what He has said for us to do in order to continue to allow His kingdom to increase. Track your spending. Write it down. Know exactly where all of your dollars are going. Keep a record of your income and then keep a record of your spending so you'll know exactly what you're doing. Create an emergency fund. Have monies set aside so that you don't have to go to somebody else to make sure that your emergencies can be taken care of. Handle that yourself. Build up your savings, not only for the emergency fund, but so that you'll have funds there that when you want to go on vacation, you'll be able to do so. Or when you want to do something that's specifically for you, that you'll be able to do it out of what you have built up for savings, and then continue to build them up. Pay off your debt. Sounds like simple to say, but there's a method to it, and it's something that you should consider. If you're in debt, you want to get out of it because debt is slavery, and we do not want to be slaves to men. The only one we want to be a slave to is the Lord. Here's some practical ways to track your spending. List everything that you have to spend your funds on. These numbers may not match what yours is. It's just an idea of some of the items that you would write down. First and foremost should be your tithes, and that's 10% of your income. Your offerings and organizations come after that, not out of that, but after that. Then you have your savings, which is another 10% of your income. And then you have the things that are required that you know you need. You need gas, you need groceries. You might want to go out to dinner. You might want to go to the movies. You might want to stop at Dairy Queen and get some ice cream and a hamburger. I don't know. Buy a new outfit. You might have medical expenses. You might even want to go to the gym. You have a car note. You got a house note, electric bill, gas bill, water bill, Comcast or cable bill or whatever service you're using. Then cell phone, car insurance, and then you total all of that up. And these are all of the things that you would spend out of your income. But if you are only looking at the fact that, well, I only went to Dairy Queen once, or I went to the movies, it doesn't sound like much, but when you add it in with all of the other expenses you have for the month, you see what the total comes to. Almost $5,000 that you spent in 1 month. A sample budget would include your monthly income, which could be your salary, pension, Social Security, and annuity. And then your expenses would be your tithes and offerings, your savings, your household expenses, being your house note, the insurance, your taxes, utilities, and anything else that you might have to spend to upkeep your home, your car expenses, the car note, insurance, gas, tires, oil changes, and anything else that might be an expense for your car. Groceries, and this number might look kind of low to some people. I don't know how I skipped the page. Trying to go back here. Medical bills, gym membership, entertainment, all of those things should be considered when you're looking at your monthly expenses. Trying to move this. Eliminate your debt. To eliminate debt quickly, you could use something that's called a snowball effect. List your bills in lowest to highest order. This keeps getting in the way. If you are paying extra on any one of these, pay only the minimum due and use the extra to go towards the lowest balance bill. Eliminate the lowest balance bill and then add the amount you were paying for that bill to the next lowest balance bill. As each bill is paid off, cut up that card, throw it away, and never use it again. And as an example, if you have debt to JCPenney at 18%, and the balance on that card is $475, the required payment, $25 a month. And right now you're paying that $25 a month. For Macy's, the interest rate is 23%. The balance is $890. You're paying $40 a month. The bill is $40 a month, but you're paying $75 a month. So you're paying $35 a month more to Macy's than what they charge. So you said, I'm going to get rid of this bill quicker because I'm paying more on it. That's what you're thinking anyway. The Visa, 16% interest. The balance is $2,500. You're required to pay $28 a month, but you're paying $100 a month. So you can get rid of that bill quicker. On MasterCard, the balance is $12,500 and it's 12% interest. You're required to pay $78 a month, but you're currently paying $200 a month. Suggestion, take the $112 extra that you're paying to MasterCard and the extra $72 that you're paying Visa and the extra $35 that you're paying Macy's. Pay them what their minimum is. That'll be $40 for Macy's, $28 to Visa, and $78 to MasterCard. Take those extra monies that you're paying them on a monthly basis, pay it to JCPenney, and you'll have JCPenney's paid off in 2 months. You can take that card, cut it up, throw it away. When that bill is gone, take the extra from MasterCard and Visa, plus what you were paying for the JCPenney's, so that $25 that you used to pay to JCPenney, plus the extra $72 you're paying to Visa, add those two amounts to the $40 that you're supposed to pay to Macy's, and in 3 months you'll be done with the Macy's bill. Do the same for Visa and eliminate that debt in 8 months. Then you can pay only on the MasterCard and keep that one card for hotel reservations, airline tickets, and anything else that you might have been needed to buy at Macy's or JCPenney. Because it has the lower interest rate, for one thing. And if you had kept paying $28 a month to Visa at 16%, it would take you 6 years to pay that off. Doesn't look like it would, but 16% interest is being added onto your balance every month. Plus, as long as you have that card, you're going to keep using that card. So as you get rid of the balances on them, cut the card up, throw it away, keep one credit card to use for any and all of your charges. And if you could pay off whatever you charge every month plus the regular payment, you'll see that balance start to disappear over a period of time as well. And that's called the snowball effect. Another way that you could pay your bills off is to pay off the one with the highest interest rate first, because it's getting more added in on a monthly basis. It would just take you longer to do it that way as opposed to paying off the one with the lowest balance first. There are other ways to do it, but you have to think about what goal is it that I'm trying to accomplish. And your goal is to get rid of the debt, eliminate your debt. Keep in mind, 3 John chapter 1, verse 2 tells us that God wants us to prosper and be in good health. He is the owner of everything, and we are only the stewards that he has put in place to care for what is his. 1 Corinthians 16:2, where we started tonight, tells us to set aside money at the beginning of the week, saving it so that when the time comes, it will be available to keep God's work going. We cannot keep God's work going if we are spending everything we get, sometimes before we even get it. Track your spending, create a budget, and eliminate your debt. want to tell you a story about someone who was watching over their loved one, who happened to be their mother, that had cancer. Watching them die, being able to do nothing to make them better. When that loved one passed away, the caretaker, who was the daughter, got ill. And for what she was feeling, she had convinced herself that she too had cancer, just like her mother. She had a persistent and severe sore throat and did not want to go through what her mother had gone through. She felt that the world was a cruel place and she didn't want to leave her children behind. So feeling that she also had cancer and was going to die, she turned a gun on her 5-year-old daughter, her 10-year-old son, and then on herself. The sheriff notes indicated that she was distraught about the cancer that she didn't even have. The autopsy revealed she only had strep throat. And she took a path that she thought was her only way out. Don't let debt do this to you. There's always more than one way to get out. The old saying, what you don't know can't hurt you, is absolutely wrong. What you don't know can kill you if you don't use wisdom to figure another way out. Your roadmap to handling your finances is right in front of you. Don't miss the chance to use it and live a blessed life. That ends the presentation that I have for tonight.